I want to bring in Scott Bauer, the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. He's joining us to take a look at a few he's got on his radar. Scott, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ben.
A bit of a data dump this morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Durable goods orders. We had, GDP and the jobless claims. Can you talk to us in terms of the basket of releases?
Yeah.
What stood out?
Yeah, for the most part, it was all pretty positive. Durable goods orders were surprisingly low. A lot of that, I think, is due to, much of the supply chain constraints that we've seen recently. The jobs number is very encouraging. After the big monthly number we got a few weeks back, or, the April number, which was such a disappointment, we've had very encouraging signs in the jobs number here. This was the lowest. This was the, pandemic level low that we've seen. But the continuing claims number is the one that I really, focus in on, Ben. We talk about this often. That number was down almost 100,000. And that's really important to me because that actually lags a week from the regular, from the, number that we get on a weekly basis. So that one, to me, kind of makes up, or not makes up, but goes into that bad number, that monthly number that we saw last month. And it is accelerating to the downside, this continuing claims number. So that's a really good thing. And the jobs market, everyone says that there's so many jobs out there that, places can't hire enough people out there, but it looks like more and more people are going to work, at least from the jobless claims number.
Yeah, you bring up a good point there, Scott. We've been seeing a pretty good trend here in terms of those numbers bettering. And then in addition to that, there is a lot of jobs out there right now that are still looking to be filled, a lot of positions. Let's move on. Let's talk about this infrastructure spending deal that they're starting to close in on, it looks like. We're hearing from Republicans. They've offered up something a bit below the $1 trillion package that we had talked about earlier in the week, and well below the $2.25 trillion that the Biden administration originally was pushing for. But talk to us, because this does look like it's potentially going to be something that will come together prior to the July 4th holiday. I think originally they were kind of aiming for this Memorial Day weekend holiday, but we've got some stocks to keep an eye on in terms of some potential beneficiaries here. For example, I saw GE, for example, a big move to the upside today.
Yeah, it's good that we're seeing these negotiations here. Are the numbers far off? Yeah, they're far off, but they should be far off. That's why there's negotiations here. But it's a really positive start. And I think, they'll settle on something here, but it's just a matter of what gets tied into it, what sort of extraneous types of programs they may tie into this. But this is absolutely a good start. And, some of the stocks, GE, that Caterpillar that you mentioned here, we're seeing continued strength, especially in GE. If you look at the option activity, outrageous call activity today. Over 200,000 calls have traded today, with a good portion of them being ones that expire at the end of the day tomorrow. So, that big pop that we're seeing today, is definitely reflected in the option market. One of the reasons that, people may be so bullish on GE is because they've been able to retire so much debt over the last couple of years that, honestly, GE is probably the healthiest they've been in decades. Yeah.
Well, we're seeing a reflection of that in terms of price activity as well. Price is king, as we always say. Let's talk about PAVE. This is an ETF that, has benefited from the optimism expectations. You can see recently up to 27.56 on the day today. They're up about 1.33%. Scott, this is a pretty good reflection of those expectations.
Oh, no doubt about it. About 72% of this ETF is made up of industrials. You've got, the biggest holdings in there being Deere, Kansas City Southern, Nucor, NSC, CSX. So, very, very heavy on the infrastructure side of things. And, if we see a continuation of negotiations here, this is one way to play that space. If someone didn't want to, just isolate a particular stock or even a particular sector, PAVE is an ETF that really is playing off of the infrastructure.
You mentioned Nucor. I was just looking down only 4 weeks since the lows that we saw back in the beginning of February. This one's been on a run. Here you can see the move since the middle of March. And we're talking about the middle of March of last year, Scott. Here was that low that I mentioned since the beginning of February this year, down only 4 weeks, assuming they're up this week. Talk to us, because this is also, I just want to pull up the daily time frame so we can see this is a reflection thereof. And as you can see, last week up to 107.90, that's a new high, but no rejection of. This is acceptance of. This one seems to be poised to benefit as well, as you mentioned.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. No rejection of that, because I was looking at this and I thought maybe this got a little bit ahead of itself here. But then I really looked at a deeper dive into it, and they're huge. Their steel production is huge for the auto market. The auto market is still accelerating. So that is on the horizon here. And so for the next 3, 6, 9 months here, that's a part of the industry that can really benefit Nucor. And so again, I thought maybe it was getting a little bit ahead of itself here, but it certainly looks like it's going to continue to make new highs.
Yeah, we'll watch this narrative here in terms of some of the names that are going to benefit. Let's talk Costco, hanging out near highs from last week, up around 386, ahead of earnings. EPS expected to come in at $2.28. Revenue, they're looking for $45.20 billion. Scott, what should we be watching for today?
So the big key is going to be what they say, and how is Costco going to perform in the post-pandemic world? Can they live up to the expectations that we saw the reports out of a Walmart, out of a Target, which obviously blew the doors off of all expectations, both from their bottom line numbers and their guidance. So I think that's going to be key here at Costco, having a difficult time breaking out to those new highs, which are, just under the 390 area or so. But if they do give some good guidance here, which to me, I think that is the key here, pretty much with any stock, but for sure, Costco talking about the post-pandemic world, this thing does have the opportunity to blow out that 390 and make those new highs. But it is having some trouble here. It is stalling a bit.
It is stalling a little bit, currently trading down on the day by about 0.1%. We'll continue to watch a few of these names, Scott, and some movers here tied in this basket of stocks, and certainly a lot of focus on infrastructure, earnings. These have been major focal points for traders, for investors. Scott Bauer, thanks for sharing your Thursday afternoon with us.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks to you, Scott, the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy.